Welcome to today's edition of Weather to Watch. This is a review of weather that's worth watching for the next few days, the next week, even the next 2 weeks. I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. Let's get started and start with the visible satellite loop on this Friday afternoon as the sun just begins to set out here over the Atlantic. And it's actually a fairly quiet weather pattern still, expecting some severe thunderstorms to continue to grow as you see some of them starting to pop up in Iowa now. In this general area is where the highest risk is for hail and wind, and maybe an isolated tornado later on tonight. We'll take a look at the flow at 500 millibars overlaid. On top of that, we have a pretty strong but kind of a cutoff weather system off the coast of Long Island and Massachusetts. Otherwise, so far, the flow is pretty much west to east and looks pretty benign. Even this severe weather here is being kicked off by a very subtle shortwave that's kind of moving through the area, and will enhance that activity later on tonight. The weather maps show a warm front moving through Missouri and Arkansas, a cool front, but it's not going to make a lot of progress, as you'll see in subsequent maps, but it does stretch from Minnesota down through the Texas Panhandle. The coolest weather is in the northeast around Boston, and with temperatures there in the 50s. And also up around Seattle in the mountains, only in the 30s. And that's going to lead to some snow. Here's the precipitation forecast for the rest of today. Scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially in this area. But later on tonight, that will spread over to here and then southward down into parts of Oklahoma. Maybe some dry line activity as well. And the snow, as you can see, outlined in the purple up in the northwest. There is a severe weather risk, like I said, in this area, but it also does kind of dribble down here along the cold front in through Kansas, down into parts of that dry line area. Then the atmosphere becomes capped and probably not really conducive of precipitation. But we do have pretty good little rains showing up here to the tune of maybe a half inch to an inch through parts of Iowa and northern parts of Missouri. For the next 12 hours or so. So let me set you up with the overall next week. So we're talking about the 18th and then 7 days after that. This is the average 500 millibar flow, and it does show a trough of low pressure on average across the area. And that is going to lead to an increase or an uptick in shower and thunderstorm activity here and hot weather here. And we'll take a look at the temperature anomalies to go with that. Sure enough, behind the cold front, which is not going to move a whole lot, we do have below normal temperatures on average for that 7-day period, while it's going to be kind of toasty on average for that 7-day period from the Tennessee and Ohio River valleys eastward to the Atlantic. The rainfall rate increases too through this area. Get used to seeing this. I'll show you some precipitation maps to back that up, and also at least temporarily north of the front and along where the low pressure centers are going to develop, the rainfall rate pretty good through Minnesota, parts of Wisconsin, and the UP of Michigan. The weather maps for Saturday include a stalled out front from Chicago to northern Kansas. Pretty hot here in this western part of Texas and Oklahoma. Another cool front moving across the northern plains, but as I indicated, the jet stream flow is not really conducive to drive that on through. It's going to kind of get hung up. If you look at the precipitation pattern for Saturday, the snows start to spread more east now into Montana, not necessarily all in the mountain areas either, and then snow from parts of Utah into Wyoming and the northwest corner of Colorado. The most widespread rain probably up here around New York State and through parts of Pennsylvania and Michigan as well. There is a severe weather risk for Saturday, and it's an enhanced risk, level 3 out of 5, and it's centered around southwest Nebraska and parts of northwest Kansas, a little chunk of Colorado too. But the slight risk area, the yellow, goes all the way over to northern Illinois, includes all of Iowa, so be on the lookout for that. And then on Sunday, again, the fronts don't kind of consolidate, and nothing really changes here. Severe weather in the Trouble Triangle, right here between the cold front and the quasi-stationary front. You bet there will be. I'll show you that in a minute. The general precipitation pattern, the snow just keeps getting deeper and deeper in terms of its extent out over the central and northern Rocky states. Solid rains in North Dakota, and then scattered showers and thunderstorms where you see all that area there. The severe weather risk is almost to severe weather outbreak status on Sunday. The Storm Prediction Center stopped shy of using that language exactly. However, they did use it for Monday, and that's going to be a pretty big deal out there as well. And so Sunday we have, again, 3 out of 5 risk from Nebraska straight up into parts of Minnesota. Then on the rain side, heavy rain risk is highest in this area right here. This is on Monday. Parts of Iowa definitely included in that. If you look at the quantitative precipitation forecast for that area, Iowa could see up to 3 inches of rain north of Des Moines, and maybe around Lincoln, Nebraska, that same total. Everything in purple, the dark purple, is 2 inches. On the heat side of things, over the next 3 to 7 days, we have a heat risk around Monday and Tuesday for this area, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania. The high temperatures on Monday are expected to be 90 around Pittsburgh, and it looks like 90 in Cincinnati too, and 90s well into the West Virginia area and into the eastern parts and central parts of Virginia as well. And then on Tuesday, that spreads and kind of intensifies a little bit, with all the cities I named except for Cincinnati getting a little hotter on Tuesday. On the backside of this jet stream pattern, where the cold air is, frost and freeze expected Tuesday and Wednesday. Low temperatures on Tuesday are below freezing, where you see the blue, and close to frost, where you're really close to the blue. And then that spreads on Wednesday to cover North Dakota, parts of northern Minnesota. Again, the blue showing up as the actual freezing, but frost only needs temperatures to go into the mid-30s, maybe even upper 30s, depending on the situation, and that defines that area right in there. Then the second half of the rain starts to hit later in the week. Tuesday is this area here. The period Wednesday through Friday is this whole area here. I can comment more on the Tuesday part and show you what that is expected to do. So we have, again, where the first purple shows up, that's an 1.5 inches. That darker purple right there is about 2 inches. That's a Tuesday, 2-day quantitative forecast for that area. And then it actually kind of backs up Thursday, Friday, more into Texas and parts of Oklahoma. Let's go 2 weeks out. Well, again, the EPS starting the week after that, so it's the 7 days starting on Monday the 25th, shows still kind of a troughing pattern in the west and a big old ridge in Canada and the eastern U.S. That's where all the hot temperatures are going to hang out, above normal temperatures. And this is the effects here of that troughing and just continued cloud cover, rain, and precipitation in that area there for that average for that 7-week period. And you can see on the 7-day period, and you can see here on the precipitation anomalies that backs up with that rainfall forecast I showed you for that period, even beyond. And one last graphic here will show you, and that is the heavy rain risk has actually been put up to a moderate risk from Oklahoma and southern Arkansas southward to the Gulf Coast, including all of Louisiana and a chunk of Mississippi. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.